everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show yet again. Happy to be here. Happy to talk to you. We have tons of fun stuff to talk about today. The first thing I kind of wanted to talk about was the fact that my door is open and it's bothering me, so I'm going to get up and fix that.
You never know who could just walk on in Brooklyn.
Or tunnel on in. All right. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, tons of fun stuff. First thing I wanted to talk about is my Instagram algorithm. I've recently, not recently, probably for a while, I've been getting a lot of jacked guys not talking about doing steroids. It's like it's kind of the genre of influencer that Liver
Like the
King.
guys are literally not talking about doing steroids, or
The guys that are on steroids and just talk about how it's their habits,
okay.
and they talk about how it's their the things that they've done for a long time.
They claim to be natty, is what you're saying.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I've been getting a lot of that. There's this one guy, I don't know his name, and but he looks like all the rest of them. They're all bald. And
Is it
they're
Sam Sulek?
Not
You know
Sam
that guy?
Sulek. He's funny. I find him funny because he's obviously on steroids, but he eats like shit too, which is
Yeah.
fun.
And he's like a genius too.
Yeah, he's supposed to be autistic, isn't he?
Yeah, maybe like Asperger's or something.
Yeah, somewhere on the spectrum.
Ass something.
Yeah,
All something.
He's but that motherfucker's big, and he's zitted all over his body. Like, that guy's definitely on roids. But he drinks gallons of chocolate milk, which is fun. At least that's fun. Like, he doesn't. He's not hiding behind a good diet and saying that that's why he's such an absolute freak. You know, like there's some guys. I forget this guy's name, but he looks like an ape. He looks like a legitimate ape, like a shredded, massive person. We're being led to believe that you can get bigger as you get older. When we see guys like The Rock and John Cena, and Vin Diesel, and just like all the modern action heroes. They're kind of Mark Wahlberg's another one. They're kind of telling us that you can actually get more massive as you
wake
get
up at
older.
5 a.m. and do kettlebells.
And pray. Don't forget to pray. That's why Mark Wahlberg is so big. He's not in this.
He's always been big. Like, he's also tiny.
Right.
He's shredded, but he's little. He's
Yeah,
like
he's short.
5'5".
Yeah. He's short. Is he Jewish, Mark Wahlberg? Berg's supposed to be Jewish, but I have a friend.
I don't think he is Jewish, though.
No, right? Mark. He's just from. They don't have Jewish people in Boston. They don't allow them there. The Jews and the Irish, they never mixed. Goes all the way back to Atlantic City. I didn't just finish watching Boardwalk Empire today. No, it's kind of getting out of hand. Like, it kind of not started, but definitely the influencer. He's Irish, yeah.
Yeah, raised Catholic.
Right. So he's got to pray. He's got to pray and eat potatoes, or he won't be strong.
His mother's half Irish, half French Canadian.
Oh, yeah. So he's fucked. He's
a
short.
mutt.
Yeah, he's gonna be short. Those two, they just mingled to be elves. The all elves in all of history, dwarfs, they've all been half Irish and half French Canadian, and they've all been movie stars. Every single one. There's no not famous dwarves or elves, if you think about it, right? Steve-O. Fucking
Steve-O is not
not Steve-O, the other one. Wee Man. Yeah, there we go. What's his name? His name's not Steve, is it?
No, Steve-O is from Jackass, but
I don't know why that
Wee
happened.
Man. Might be Brandon something.
Yeah, well, there's that. Then there's the comedian. I forget his name.
Brad Williams.
Brad Williams, right? There's another famous one. The dude from...
Jason Acuna's Wee Man.
is that his name? Jason Acunas?
Yeah.
Nice. Hakuna Matata.
So are we just going to name midgets?
Famous midgets, yeah.
Peter Dinklage.
That's the one I was thinking of. Peter Dinklage, Hornswoggle, if you're a WWE fan. Point is they've all been famous, right? All the now midget porn is huge. Everyone loves For whatever reason, everyone likes watching small girls. Well, grown women, but just happen to have dwarfism. They like watching them get banged. I can't get into it. I watched a couple, and it looks too much like a kid. Like I don't know. It's not to paint the awful picture in your mind of that, but it's testy. I don't know. I couldn't get into it. But they've all been stars. They've all been revered. Even when
Vern
Troyer, can't forget him. He was a Gary Coleman. What about Gary Coleman? Got beat up by his wife.
Was he technically little?
He might have just had something else.
He had like a Benjamin Button type thing, right?
Yeah, he had something that doesn't allow you to grow, I would suppose, but maybe different than this. And it made him broke. It made him broke at the end of his life, sad and alone. But anyway, I don't know how we ended up getting on the topic of famous midgets and short people. When I wanted to get this thing started to talk about the ape-like middle-aged men that are creeping up, and that's just now without the intervention of technology into our biology. Like, we have phones and we have tech, but they're not in us yet. Like, wait until these guys can get something. Like, what's the next evolution of steroids? The beginning of steroids, I had to imagine, were something very rudimentary. I don't know when the first time they synthesized PEDs and they figured out that they could
Probably
shoot
blood
them.
doping.
What's that? Blood doping.
It's like you replace your blood with higher oxygenated blood.
Okay.
So like
you can
say I was like a super athlete and you wanted to enhance your performance, you would take some of my blood and insert it into you. Like if we were matching blood types.
Good Lord. Imagine wanting to win that bad.
People still do it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I feel like I've heard of this.
There's
like cyclists do it, right? Like endurance athletes.
Yeah, all of them do it.
Yeah.
They do it not in like the form of actual human blood. I think they do it's like EPO they call it.
Yeah.
So like I think they just take out a lot of their blood and then it gets oxygenated somehow. I don't really know how they do it. Cody Garbrandt got nailed for that too. Not Cody Garbrandt.
TJ.
Okay,
TJ Dillashaw.
Cody admitted to that Team Alpha Male they were all doing it.
They all did it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hell, if you're going to get a goddamn advantage. But those guys are competing. I just think it's funny that there's guys who are retired and they work they work part-time as a crossing guard, but they're jacked. They're huge. They just they make bread on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's another thing that they do. They just fucking hang out. And they do trend that, like, what I want to see is a big jacked guy. I want to see one of them go on and be like, well, this is my journey on learning how to play the mandolin. I just want to see this big freak of a man just holding a little mandolin, trying to play it, trying to get better at it, and every day he's just posting a little bit more, never alluding to the fact that he's on steroids. Never once mentioning that he's on steroids. That's why he's naturally 50 years old with abs, 275 pounds with abs at that age. But here's the thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think those guys aren't competing for anything. Take fucking steroids. Do it. Who gives a fuck? Do the TRT. Do all of it. I would do that.
Some of them are pretty dangerous.
Well, right. But I'm saying if that's what you wanted to do and you wanted to get jacked, why would you go on Instagram and be like, I don't do, like, I don't know. Maybe I just want these guys to go out there and be like, hey, I'm on steroids. Look how big I am. As opposed to, like, Rich Paena. That's a guy that I used to love. Do you remember Rich Paena?
No.
Oh, my God. Pull this guy up. He was massive, and this dude had no qualms about talking about being on steroids or not. He obviously was on steroids. Quite obviously. He was fucking huge. He was the size of a house, and he pretty much, I mean, he died because he was so goddamn big. You can't get, this dude just wanted to, what does it say, 39 he died? Piana. Piana. He was so goddamn big. But at least he wasn't like, well, this is from eating oats. I get this from eating overnight oats. Overnight oats, I'm 330 pounds with 1% body fat. Look at this guy. Pull him up on the fucking screen. Show the people. This man is a real freak. We're all getting watered down versions of this guy. Look at this dude. Huge. He was so good. He looks like Hellboy. Remember the movie Hellboy? He looks like Hellboy. Thanos. Look at him. Look at that. I mean, he was obviously a bodybuilder at one point, but once he retired, he didn't get like normal size. He just wanted to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, look at that. Abs. How big is that guy? He had to be over 300 pounds walking around. Like, walking around weight. Over 300 pounds. Jacked. But he said, hey, listen, I'm on steroids. This isn't tilapia. This isn't broccoli. He used to make videos of his food. And he would make like, I mean, it would be normal shit for the most part. But he would eat pretty much every night a pint of Ben & Jerry's. He was like,
I do that too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Last night I had Haagen-Dazs. You can't go wrong with Haagen-Dazs. Do you like stuff in your ice cream?
Yeah. Certain stuff.
Like fucking, I don't know.
Like brownie bites or something?
Sure. Cookie dough?
Sure.
Hell yeah. That's what I had last night.
Or like Ben & Jerry's fish food, the little chocolate fish in there.
I don't think I've had fish food.
It's like marshmallow globs and little chocolate fish.
Yeah. Yeah, what's better than that? Ben & Jerry's has, like, I forgot who it was. I think it was Tim Dillon that said that it has something, every flavor has something that shouldn't be in there. There's like one extra thing that shouldn't be in there. I don't know if I agree with that, because I think Ben & Jerry's is, I'm pro that.
Shouldn't from like a glutton standpoint, or shouldn't and it makes it not good?
I think he was going for the glutton standpoint. Like, there's one thing that's like, why are there chocolate covered pretzels in this? There's already 9 other things, you know. Yeah, but I can get down with Ben & Jerry's for sure. Anyway, my whole point was to shit on these guys. Another one is that dude Andy Elliott. You ever see Andy Elliott? You might see him by accident. He's bald and he's jacked, and all he talks about is selling things. He's like a salesman, and he tries to get his team hype. It's that bald dude, I think, from where I'm sitting. He tries to get his team hype, and he's like, if you don't have abs, you can't work for me. You can't work for me, man. He's just jacked walking around. I love God. I want to help my community. This is what it's all about, man. This is what life is about. I figured it out. I have figured it out. It's about being jacked and selling shit all day. That's it. Don't look for anything else. Don't try to connect spiritually to anything else. Wake up, be a vessel for production. Sell. See? 6-pack or you're fired. Lose weight equals more sales. Is that true? Is that a real thing, Andy Elliott? If you lose weight, you're going to sell more. I don't know how true that is. I bought
my car from the big fat slob at the Nissan dealership.
Precisely. I
wanted the car. He didn't sell me the car. I just went in there and wanted the car.
I would argue that someone with abs, their mind is somewhere else. They're not focused on the task. I want a big fat guy that doesn't care about anything but selling. If there's someone that's out there that's trying to sell and they're taking care of their health, that's time taken away from calling people, hitting leads, figuring out a better way to say the script and communicate get the sale going. You need a big fat lazy slob working for you with mustard stains on his shirt. That's the guy I want. But that's another dude. That dude's old. He doesn't look old, but he's not supposed to be that jacked up, which is fine. I'm making it sound like it's a bad thing, and he doesn't even talk about, health in the way that these other guys that I'm mentioning are. But he's just a caricature. That's where we're at. I mean, we have people that are so deranged, especially young men. Young men are so deranged. We have no direction for the young men in this country anymore. And they're all supposed to be gay now. They're all supposed to, they're all supposed to be androgynous. It's not the right thing to be a strong man anymore. It's kind of not. It's kind of not, right? I saw a thing the other day that said women own more homes independently in this country than men do, which is good, fantastic for them. But men have taken a back seat. So when a guy that's drinks 18 coffees a day and is jacked and is bald and it tells you that you can make millions of dollars if you just listen to him, lots of people are going to listen to him. Stupid kids are going to listen to him. Stupid kids are going to listen to him. Smart kids are going to listen to him. Guys that did nothing in their lives, guys that are the same age as him that have done nothing in their lives are going to listen to that guy. And maybe it's good. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's better than the alternative, but it's just it's another example of a caricature of a person that people want to aspire to be It used to be just in movies. Before you could watch a movie, you could watch a movie like The Godfather where it's a guy killing people, but it's cool and romantic, and you're like, I kind of root for that guy. We like doing that. We like rooting for a guy. We like masking the fact that this guy is doing some horrible shit, but you can root for him because it's a movie. And then afterwards, you're like, that's kind of cool. I kind of want to start killing people like that. I want to wear a suit and tell people what to do, and they can kiss my ring. And that's fine. But that only goes so far because it's just a movie. You see it once, every so often. Even if it's your favorite movie, you're not going to watch it every day. However, if you go on Instagram, every day there's some sweaty, red-faced guy telling you got to get up and, edge your dick for 2 hours before you start your day, and then you drink your green juice, and then you go out and you run 400 miles, and you suppress all those feelings that you had that in the morning from the edging, and you have to have a 30-step routine to get your thing started. And maybe it's good. Maybe it's just a bullshit version of someone that you think made it. I think that's where I was going.
So what's on your Instagram
algorithm? What's on your Instagram algorithm? That's where I was gonna go. Well, that's part of it, right? There's some of those guys. Then there's tons of food stuff, horrible food thing like Devour Power. You guys are familiar with Devour Power, I would assume. They're that couple in New York that go everywhere, and it's almost like they just try. They try to find the worst possible food. It's like you get a sandwich with. It's like a cheeseburger sandwich with barbecue brisket and mac and cheese and fucking caramel sauce and bacon jam, and then they wrap it in a tortilla and deep fry it and slice it and hit it with powdered sugar and walnuts. And they eat that. And that's another thing that's on my algorithm. And then it's girls with fat asses doing squats in the gym. That's most.
Most men have that.
Yeah, right. It's most
chicks.
Of those things.
There's too many of them.
It's endless. I remember in the beginning you could kind of keep track.
Girls with big butts in general. Today it was like I was just scrolling, and then there's this girl who does drywall, and she just has a huge butt.
Yeah.
And she records her doing her regular job, but she's getting paid from Instagram because she has a big butt.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a real. it's like that's what we need to be entertained now. If you think about it, in the earliest forms of entertainment, there was like, you went to a play every 3 months or something, or someone's kid knew how to play a piano and everyone sat around it after dinner and everyone was like, oh, this is fantastic. This is the best thing that money could buy. This is great. And now it's like we've been so inundated and the only way we can be entertained is to see a fat ass. A big fat ass doing anything, literally anything.
This one was wild.
Some of them are wild.
It's fucking like it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, they defy what we know about physics. Some of these.
I should find it.
Yeah, there's a sea of big fat ass out there on Instagram, and there's you can easily get lost if you don't have a life raft. Yeah, you can get swallowed up by some of these asses. But I remember in the beginning you find a couple of them. They come, here or there. You could even, it was back when you'd show your buddy that, and they're like, who's that? And you could be like, oh, it's this person. And then most people, and now it's just everybody. And then the clothing industry, the gym wear industry, or whatever, rallied behind that. And it's like, well, look at these pants that go into a V right above the ass, and the point of the V is actually this girl's ass. Her asshole is the point of the V here. So this is, and the clothes have gone in that route, and the same thing with the guys too, but definitely with the women. There's however. Guys invented bodybuilding, and guys still dominate that sport. So it must be something. We must just like looking at bodies, bodies that there's ones that we want to be like in some sense, some that are just magnificent. And I'm not talking about being trans. I'm talking about being jacked. People whose jobs it is to just get absolutely jacked. There's no water in between their skin and their muscle. There's just a thin layer of skin and then rock hard steroid-ridden muscles on a stage, turning and posing with oil and bronzer and all that shit on. And that's one way. And then there's the women that are on Instagram who are doing drywall with a tripod with their phone behind them. That's the other thing. One of them takes immense work, and there's women that do bodybuilding as well. It takes a lot of work and a lot of discipline. And the other one, all it takes is being born. For a lot of girls, not some girls, they work on it. They get a bigger butt on their own, but a lot of the time, it's like being an athlete. You're born with it. You're born into it. Your mother had a fat ass. Your grandmother had a fat ass. All your sisters and aunts, they've all got fat asses. That's right. All the way down the line. Just since the beginning of time. Your great aunt who was fucking in England, they marveled at her fat ass. It's that's that's where my algorithm is at. For the most part. That and those nostalgic videos where they show just like stills of a neighborhood and they play birds in the background like tweeting, and it's supposed to evoke some nostalgia in you, which it always does for me. It always does, and it never makes me feel good. It never once was I like, well, this is nice to see. I love looking at my past as a child when things were simpler and easier. I love being reminded that every day we're a step closer to the great demise of our own beings. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for showing me this. And it's just like a swing set or like a rainy morning. It's like this is 2008, and it's showing you a rainy bus stop, and it's dark out in the morning. But what they're not showing you is the economy in collapse, and the fact, and our military in Afghanistan at that time as well. It's not reminding you of those things. It's just trying to evoke how you felt when you were going to school, which at the time sucked. That's the thing. At the time, it sucked. At the time, you didn't want to go to school. It was rainy and dark and shitty. But now that you look back, now that you're older, and you're like, wow, that was the easiest time ever. That was way easier than what I'm doing now. Now I have to suck dick to make rent. I eat rice every night. I wish I could be going to school on a dark, rainy day in my galoshes. Whatever happened to galoshes? Are those still a thing? You have galoshes?
I don't know what a galosh is.
Hey, you don't know what a galosh is? Huh, get it? Yeah, galoshes.
Goulash?
No, like rain boots.
Ah.
Rain boots. Are those? I guess there's probably high-end, really expensive rain boots. Really expensive rain boots that that bankers wear when they're stomping on the dreams of an immigrant that's trying to look for a loan. Couldn't find the big fat ass doing drywall.
I found other ones, but it wasn't.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
If I come across that other one, I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah. Please do. Please do.
It's like, holy moly.
Yeah. Great googly moogly.
Yeah, like I needed a bath after I saw it.
Right. Yeah, you forget sometimes. You forget that shit comes out of those things, you know? But nonetheless. Yeah, right. No. It's all right. Nonetheless, the fine people in Kentucky. Actually, no, fuck Kentucky. This is more important. The Oscars are coming up. We got the Oscars list. Why did I think talking about Kentucky would overtake the Oscar? This is important. All right, I don't. I feel like the Oscars is one of those events where, it's a massive ceremony for the peacocks of our society. The people get dressed up and regal, and is this, when did Will Smith smack dude? Was it last year? No, 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, it had to have been. Not Chris Rock. Will Smith smacked Chris Rock. I said Chris Rock smacked. It would have been funner if.
Might have been last year.
Was it last year? I don't know. I really don't. I don't really pay attention to the Oscars. But you guys want to know the truth behind today's episode? I was busy. I was busy most of the day. And by busy, I mean I had to watch.
It was 2022.
I had to. Oh, okay. So 2022. I had to watch the last episode of Boardwalk Empire, so I could start watching something else. And I really didn't prepare at all today for this episode. However, the Oscar nominations are fresh off the presses for us, and of course Oppenheimer's leading it. We can't let go of that, right? Oppenheimer, big bomb, gave us a massive boom. Get it? Gave economically everything. Oppenheimer did for us. When it had, the first time when we used it, when we used the stuff that he made. This is just a cheap imitation of what could have been or what could be. So Oppenheimer leads it with 13 nominations. Let's see. So 13 nominations for Oppenheimer. I don't even know what Poor. Do you know what Poor Things is? I don't know what that is. She's got 11. Emma Stone's got. Okay, so that movie's got 11, and then Killers of the Flower Moon has 10. Barbie has 8, and Jimmy Kimmel, again, they're going to prop him up there, and he's going to be probably on a cocktail of drugs. I can't imagine doing this, being the host of this show, is something that most people in entertainment want to do. I feel like it's really hard to do. Let's just scroll down just a little bit, just to see what the other nominees are for best. So this is the best movie. I don't know any of these except for Oppenheimer, Maestro, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, which I haven't seen. That's pretty much it. The rest of these I don't really know. Yeah.
Like Barbie is getting a fucking nomination for Best Picture.
Oscar nomination. Yeah, I don't think it'll win. Who wants that to win? She didn't even win. That's the funniest thing about this. Margot Robbie didn't get nominated for Best Actress in a Leading Role. Watch, scroll down. She didn't get nominated at all. But fucking look at scroll down on Best Actor in a Supporting Role.
It's also because it's almost ran like a film festival, where there's certain criteria for these awards.
Oh, right. See, Ryan Gosling got nominated, though. Ryan Gosling got nominated for Barbie, but Margot Robbie didn't. That's kind of wild. I wonder what the deal is with that. What's the criteria there in Hollywood?
I could look up Oscars criteria.
Yeah, let's do that. Fuck it. These are awards that I feel like nobody. It's almost like people all these ceremonies have been played out by us. I feel like all these award ceremonies we're beating a dead horse. This is the 96th one. I understand it's a tradition at this point, but it is very much a drawn out, egomaniacal. Like you have to. It's almost like running for something, right? You kind of have to campaign. You don't? Do they just nominate you, or don't you have to? I always heard there was like a political aspect to the Oscars.
I think it's almost literally ran like a film festival, like where I guess whoever the producer or studio they input it.
At least, okay. So these are the standards for the Oscars. At least,
particularly this year.
Okay,
it's different. Like it's different every year.
At least one of the lead actors or significant supporting actors is from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group: Asian, Hispanic, Black, Indigenous, Middle Eastern, Native Hawaiian, or other. Okay, so at least one of the lead actors is that. That's okay. At least 30% of all actors in secondary and more minor roles are from at least two of the following underrepresented groups: women, racial or ethnic group. I thought we figured that out up top in the last. But anyway,
this is for the filler.
Right, the filler people.
Yeah.
LGBTQ plus
secondary actors.
People with cognitive or physical disabilities or who are deaf or hard of hearing. And then the main storyline, theme, or narrative of the film is centered on an underrepresented. Okay, so they need. I didn't know any of this. It really makes you think. Maybe the superhero movies are onto something. Because they don't have to worry about any of this. They
just follow the comics.
They just exactly,
which includes a lot of stuff anyway.
Most of these
they also don't give a fuck about the Oscars.
Right?
They just make cool shit
because they make bread. Yeah. Most of these they all have to do with the underrepresented groups. Why is this the criteria? It's funny because when Marlon Brando didn't accept his Oscar, he sent up a Native American woman, and everyone was like, "This is fucking crazy. What is this?" They were booing her. This is awful. And now they've just completely switched.
Oh, so yeah, it even goes into the department heads.
Even the department heads need to be underrepresented groups. Well, hey,
like a sound designer. Or something.
Yeah.
Someone has to be either a woman. I don't know what racial or ethnic group really even means.
That sounds more racist than what they think they're accomplishing here.
Racial or ethnic group.
Yeah, like you need
represented. Like what is that? Like it's very vague.
Sure, underrepresented groups. So this is everybody. Look how long the lists of things are, though. Everybody but white guys. That's pretty much it. If you're
It's an extreme version of affirmative action.
Right. Yeah, it seems like that. Paid apprenticeships.
This goes on forever.
Wow, and it's all the same thing. It's literally all the same thing. It's saying that you need to employ people who are underrepresented in some facet. Underrepresented by who? In the movies? Well,
I think in general.
Just in life. I guess this is better than what they were doing before in Hollywood, and that was fucking kids.
And then when you know that, you go to the nominations.
Right. Wow, Jodie Foster ringing it in. She's white, so she's kind of breaking.
She is a woman.
Yeah. Right.
Women counted as underrepresented.
Right. But these are best actresses.
Color Purple is black women.
Black woman.
I don't know what some of these other movies are really about. But
right. Best director. I mean, look at the names. Yorgos Lanthimos. Wow, I didn't know any of that, and I didn't know that it would be based on anything in that sense.
And then like come 2025, they may change it so that you have to include Native Americans. Like this year, it's women and LGBTQ.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, maybe, and it's already out there. Like we could look it up. Like 2025 Oscar, what you call it?
Criteria. That's nuts. It's a real that gives it even less legitimacy, I think. That gives those awards even less legitimacy. That's an award for conforming to what these things are. But then again, if you want to win one, then I guess you're going to do it, I guess you will abide by those things. I watched a movie last week? It was an independent movie, which I don't recommend. I mean, I don't know. It was one of the first ones I'd ever seen that's regarded as an independent film. But while watching it, I realized why it wasn't a blockbuster major motion picture. Obviously, it was strange. It was called The Settlers, and it was about Spanish people from Spain coming to take over and kill the Indians in Peru. No, Chile. And it was okay. Parts of it were okay, but there was a pretty graphic gay sex scene, more graphic than I think I've seen. I've also never watched Brokeback Mountain. I haven't watched many movies with gay sex scenes. I haven't seeked them out. Maybe I will after. Maybe
sure, you haven't.
Well, except for on Pornhub, right? Those are the top quality gay sex scenes if you're going to look them up. But this was a lot. This was a lot because it was old. It was like 1908. And some dude with no teeth just fucked this other guy in his ass, and it was horrible. A horrible moment. Right next to a...
I didn't find 2025's criteria, but it says they're tightening it up even more.
Jesus. Yeah, they got to include aliens in this next one.
You mean Mexicans?
They got to include fetuses in this next one. There's not enough representation.
Unidentified gender fetuses.
Yeah. Stillborns. You got to make movies. There has to be movies with stillborns in them, or else you can't win an Oscar. Recently they had. I don't know why they keep getting comedians to do these things. Like Jimmy Kimmel's TV show host, so he's gonna do better at this. But Joe Coy recently did the Golden Globes, and he had like 9 days to prepare for it. I forgot who they had in place of him, but he was like a last minute thing, and people didn't like him because he's Asian. No, they didn't like him for, I don't know. He seemed like he was just doing stand-up comedy, like club stand-up comedy.
Yeah, and he probably didn't write any of it. He was just bombing.
Yeah, parts of it he didn't write for sure. And he ousted his writers while he was up there, which people didn't like either. He's like, "Oh, I didn't write that one," when they would bomb. But you kind of just, you kind of have to eat that. That's your job up there, buddy. You're the head of this fucking thing that's going on. I mean, Bill Burr did it during 2020, right, when nobody was there, which was a really weird one. Nobody was there. It was just him on a stage alone, and then they would like cut to it. Even he was like, "This is weird. This is really weird." Letterman did it, and that was a bad one. There was a bunch of them. I want to see the best one. Probably would have been Norm. They knew probably not to get Norm Macdonald on there because they had Norm Macdonald at Bill Clinton's thing at like the president's dinner. That's what it was when Clinton was there.
Robin Williams did it one year.
Yeah, that was probably. But see, he's one that's like so versatile. You can't put a club comedian. I'm not saying that Joe Coy's a club comedian, but if they took like, I don't know, Big J Okerson. And he just hosted it. He's smoking cigarettes. He's talking about banging.
It'd be like, did one of the lighting guys just wander onto the stage?
Yeah, exactly. Meryl Streep would be like, "What? What is this? This is supposed to be the regal." It's funny because film kids and theater kids in high school are like, nobody cares about them. They're weird. They're weird. They stay in their own lane. But for whatever reason, when we get older, we realize that they were the smart ones. They were the ones who had it right when you're going home to watch them on TV. They had it right. You just finished a day at the the dill pickle factory. Your job is to oversee that the plastic gets wrapped around the top of the jars, and when you miss one, you get reprimanded, and you've missed a couple this month, and normally doesn't happen, and you're hoping that the new movie is on when you get home, and it is, and you're like, man, I shouldn't have been such a prick to Elsa or Ian in high school. They kind of had the right idea. I'm here at the Vlasic pickle factory every day, and I can't seem to get ahead in this life, but I love watching them. I love watching these guys. But nonetheless, I don't even know when are the Oscars. February, right? Probably next week, or is it this week? I mean, I probably still won't be watching. 10th. March 10th, okay. So March 10th, we get to find out the best movies. We also, I mean, there's a bunch that they don't tell us about. You know that, like with Grammys and shit and Oscars, there's a bunch of awards that they don't even televise.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the Grammys one year. There was
best animated short film. Or something
yeah,
like
exactly. Yep, best snuff film.
Best documentary.
Yeah, exactly. You could get you could win it for like a comedy special too. I think Louis C.K. has an Oscar, which is fantastic, or a Grammy. He's got one or the other. I forget what it is. Probably a Grammy. That would make sense because they still call them comedy albums. But nonetheless, guys, this is a regal event. This is an entirely American event. I don't know if other countries were dolling people up before us to give them the most highest praise in a little gold man that they can take home. They can take home and continue being demons with. Look at my gold man. I'm going to sit it next to my other gold man, and they're going to watch me fuck. They're going to watch me fuck these two little gold men. They're both named Oscar, and I'm going to invite someone named Oscar over, and we're going to fuck in front of my Oscars. This is going to be great. And it's who was in Inception? Leonardo DiCaprio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Leonardo DiCaprio doing all this. And of course, Oscar's a young person. They got to be young. Yeah, that's even though he's only got one, right?
Yeah, for The Revenant.
The Revenant, fantastic movie.
His film where it had the least lines.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
He said like 6 words.
He didn't get it for Titanic, but he got it for that. That's probably why, though, because he was still so good, and he didn't say anything. He said very little throughout the whole thing.
Fucked up by a bear.
That scene,
and then Tom Hardy, you couldn't understand a word he said.
Yeah, that was a good one. That's the true story. That's what's even crazier. Part of it, I mean, not the whole thing. He took some dramatic liberties, but there was a dude, Todd Glass, or whatever the fuck his name is. Hugh Glass. There we go. I don't know why I said Todd. Todd Glass is
a comedian.
Yeah. He got mauled by a bear and crawled across the country. No, yeah, Hugh Glass. That's nuts. That's fucking wild. If somebody got mauled. I mean, I guess if you get mauled by a bear and you live, that's your only option is to crawl with a broken body. You can't just sit there and wait for him to kill you, right? You got to just trudge on through across the entire country after getting totally ripped apart. So yeah, looking forward to the Oscars. Clearly, I'm looking forward to the Oscars. I can't wait to watch. Now, aside from that, I did want to talk about what's going on in Kentucky. People are so enamored and bored with the state of things. They're just kind of sitting around, aimlessly waiting for stuff. So much so that people
Kansas and Kentucky here
in the state of Kentucky. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Kansas. I forgot. Like I said, I just looked up stupid shit. Nonsense. Yeah, no, Kentucky is They're trying to get the aliens to come. Imagine how sucky that must be if you're an alien and you show up in Kentucky. You're like, yep, this is Earth, huh? And you go to Kentucky and there's just toothless people screaming, fucking horses and shooting shotguns up in the air. E.T. welcome. Kentucky City beams message into space inviting extraterrestrial visitors. Let's scroll down. I want to see what the message is. Kentucky City has come up with promote tourism. The Lexington Convention and Visitors Bureau use an infrared laser to beam a message into space to invite extraterrestrial travelers. The first thing you'll notice as you descend through Earth's atmosphere above central Kentucky is the lush green countryside that surrounds Lexington's vibrant city center. That's our famous Bluegrass. The message begins. It goes on to describe gentle rolling hills, horse farms, and bourbon before suggesting places to stay and eat and shop. I love that we think that aliens want to do the same things we want to do. We're like, come on down. We got beautiful hills, and you can eat, and you can buy stuff. Don't you guys want to buy stuff? Come on down. Look at all this stuff. The idea for the campaign came from recent UFO revelations and advances in deep space, imaging that have fueled the belief that we are not alone in the universe, the Visitors Bureau said in a statement this month announcing the move. All right, let's take this down. The Visitors Bureau of Kentucky is so genius-like that they wrote out...
what that building looks like.
They wrote out a message in English like they're a travel agency. Like they are going to get aliens. Aliens are going to say, well, I heard the aliens are out there. We should try to get them to come here so then they can come here and then everyone all over the country will come here and we can make money that way. Imagine if we have aliens. Imagine if we got aliens to come here to Louisville, Kentucky. They can see our bluegrass. Imagine thinking that aliens, a hyper-galactic fucking infinite being would come here and be like, well, I've never seen bluegrass before. They're so enamored with Kentucky and their bluegrass that they land, and they're like, well, there should be a genre of music. This bluegrass is so moving that they should make a genre of music about this bluegrass. And then they're like, well, listen here, we got Tommy and the 5 inbred jug blowers playing down at the bungalow tonight. You should come on down and watch. We'll tell the news station to come on down. It's one guy on a horse with a camera. That's our news station. They'll come on down. They'll film the whole thing. It'll be a good time. Aliens touch down in Kentucky. That's so funny to me. Just thinking, imagine they come down and they're just as dumb as us.
It's just a regular looking office building on
Look
a
at
really
that.
brown river.
That is a shit river. Just a chocolate river. Come on down, aliens. We got beef. We got fried chicken here in Kentucky. That's great. If our first encounter with aliens is them meeting people from Kentucky, then we're fucked. We're absolutely fucked. They're like, this can't be how they all are. This can't be how they all are. I just heard that guy saying he's going to fuck his sister. This is insane. Look at all the food they eat. They're all like this. Why are they all so big? Why is it always smoky in here? This is insane. Why do they all want to watch horses run in a circle? Why can't they stop drinking? What's going on? They're like, well, come on down, boys. We're going to watch Phil jerk off this horse. Phil is real good at, we got a competition here. We call it the horse jerk, where we all grab our horses and we jerk them off in front of each other, and we try to see whose horse shoots the furthest. That's right. We get a few yardsticks. We put them down. It's a real good time for the friends, for the family. The community comes out. It's always real fun. It's always real fun at the horse jerk, the Kentucky, the Louisville horse jerk, where everyone comes out, brings their finest steer that we've been breeding all year, and then they jerk them. It's that's what's fun. That's how starving people are in this country for something to happen, something that isn't that we don't think is bad. we think that maybe it'll be something good when the aliens come. Maybe they'll be like, "Hey, this place is sick. Let's hang out. Let's make it better. Let's give them the key to the fucking universe." That's what we think. We think that there's a being out there that won't start wars with brown people. That's what we're hoping for. We're hoping that there's a being out there that doesn't mind not having a new iPhone.
So it's going to take 40 years for the message to get to where it was launched to.
Okay.
And if anyone sees it, it'll
Yeah.
take another 40 years to receive a response.
Another voice, so we won't even know.
So yeah, it's basically just a time capsule.
It's a time capsule. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. 40 years. Kentucky won't be a thing in 40 years. That'll be a parking lot. That'll be a parking lot for for the
Teslas.
Yeah, exactly.
Solar stations.
If Kentucky doesn't smarten up. You want to know why they want you want to know why Kentucky wants the aliens to come? Because they miss having slaves. That's what it is. People in Kentucky are like, "Boy, do we miss having slaves around here. Things were so much. Maybe we can entice an entire race an entire race of intelligent beings to come down here and till our land for us. We miss having. So maybe we could have alien slaves. We could bring tourism to Louisville if we bring in alien slaves. This is intergalactic tourism. They can tell their friends. We can get people from all over the galaxy to come through here. It'll be like Route 66 all over again, but it'll be intergalactic. And we'll have aliens in the fields. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is going to be, I hope it works. I do hope it works. I hope it's something that, I hope they are aliens in a big minivan craft.
I'll be 110 when I see that message.
Yeah, right? 80 years from now. Phew, that'll be nuts. Imagine you're around. You're like still waiting. Where are they? Where are the aliens? People in Kentucky are just.
It comes as like a post-it note.
Yeah.
We will destroy you.
The answer's 42. Have you read or have you ever heard of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Yeah. The eternal answer is 42. The answer to life and existence is 42. Yeah, that's what the alien computer said. So that would suck if you wait 80 years and you're like, all right, what's the answer? This was 5 million years in the book. So it was like the descendants of the people who invented the computer.
Most Def.
Most Def? What do you mean?
In the movie, he played that one of the characters.
Oh,
at
okay.
That scene.
There is a movie. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I hadn't seen the movie. Most Def is in that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's pretty sick. Yeah, maybe it's something along those lines. Maybe they land and they learn about Hunter S. Thompson. That's the coolest thing to come out of Kentucky, I think. That and I guess fried chicken, KFC, something along those lines. Yeah.
Or like Lindsay Lohan.
Is she from Kentucky?
I don't know.
Lindsay Lohan? I just remember seeing her pussy as a kid when she got out of the thing. I remember that was like, wasn't that kind of a paparazzi ploy? Like she got a lot of publicity for showing her pussy when she got out.
She's from the Bronx.
When she got out of limo. Really? Yeah, Lindsay Lohan's actually Puerto Rican. She's Puerto Rican from Dykeman. in the Bronx. No. Yeah.
Born in the Bronx, raised in Long Island.
Wow, she's a hardcore bitch. No wonder we were seeing her pussy when she was 18, getting out of limos and shit.
You gotta air that thing out.
Yeah.
That wine dance box.
That ended up being the thing, right? Didn't Paris Hilton have a pussy shot? They all did in those days. Back when things were easy.
Go lips out for the boys.
Back when it was you had to show your puss. Now it's your ass. Back then it was like, if you really want to pop, you got to get your pussy in a magazine. Some guy's got to take a picture of it. There's got to be a taco animation on TMZ when you walk out. That's what it was before. Now, see, everything's come full
Merrick.
circle.
I wasn't far off with wine dance.
What is it?
Merrick.
Oh, okay.
It's part of Long Island.
So what's the place you said?
Wine Danch.
Wine Danch.
It's like
Okay.
a grimy area.
It's a shitty spot.
Yeah.
Of Long Island. I've only ever been to Melville. I went to Melville.
I live
once.
close to Melville.
Okay. Yeah. I went there once when I thought I was going to be the Wolf of Wall Street. I was going to get a stockbroker job over there. But that didn't happen. Thank God. Thank God that didn't happen. Where are we at? We've
55.
ran the Kentucky aliens into the ground.
You want to go to the Kansas? You have this other one.
What's going on in Kansas?
You have Philly. And then you also have...
Oh, this one's fun. Yeah, let's show her. We've been talking about influencers this episode. This woman lives in a she says she's cheap as fuck, but she lives in a garage with one window. But look at the garage. Like, look at that. That place is nice. You're cheap. would you just find this place?
She's more photos? There's a video.
Oh, there might be a video. Yeah, it's a 3-minute long video on her TikTok. I live in a. She says she's cheap, and she's this, but this. I mean, this thing isn't.
Oh, am I supposed to do this?
Oh yeah, you have to move the puzzle piece, or else they'll think you're an alien. They think, you know what that was for? That was a security check to make sure we're not talking shit about her on a podcast. That was the fucker. It's the perfect size for me. I don't need any bigger. Are we still talking about the apartment? Hey-o. Yeah, this is what's funny. She didn't disclose how she came to call the converted garage home, but the Budget Kaj's content creator says she is very cheap. She's got 1.2 million followers. She's making some bread. $1,300 inclusive of utilities and Wi-Fi. Before anyone says your rent is not cheap, I live in SoCal, she stated. This is cheap. That is cheap. But if you were super cheap, you wouldn't be living in SoCal. Let's be honest. She keeps saying she's very cheap. She's so cheap, but she lives in Southern California. This is like such a juxtaposition. Oh, this might actually be it. Is this her? Yeah, I live in a garage.
Oh, she sounds deaf.
Yeah, she looks it.
My fridge. Not the cutest view, but we live. In my fridge would fit. I got a big fridge.
Yeah, I made sure I got a big fridge. I'm so cheap.
Here is my refrigerator's POV.
Look how big it is.
Front door and also a laundry basket.
Yeah.
And a big pile of clothing. I'm being real.
Yeah, I'm being real. This is how real I am.
One, thanks a lot, but also two, my shower is my safe spot, and it feels like I'm not crying because there's water on. Anyway, by the way, I forgot to say I do live in a 4-car garage.
Yeah.
I did update.
Where are the other cars? You should go in the other part of the garage and turn the car on and close the garage door and sit in there and see what happens.
I love it here. So straight out of my bathroom, as you can see,
all right. Shut this bitch off. Her voice is annoying me. Her voice is really annoying. This place is beautiful. For those of you that aren't watching, this is an apartment. This doesn't look like a garage at all. This looks like a studio apartment. It looks completely new. It looks absolutely new. It looks
Definitely
like
not Wine Danch.
It looks like this girl makes a lot of money, and she put it toward getting a garage made that looks like she makes a lot of money. That's what it looks like. And then she's gaslighting all of us into thinking that she's cheap and broke. If you were cheap, you would live in Illinois. You'd live in Idaho somewhere. You wouldn't be in
Kentucky.
Exactly. You'd be in Kentucky waiting for the aliens. You wouldn't be in Southern California with 1.2 million Instagram followers, because you're definitely getting paid off that. I don't know what else that person does. I can't imagine it being anything else. However, that whole time, she didn't show her ass once. She alluded to it. She alluded to her ass because the pants she was wearing, and you could kind of see it, but she didn't show her ass one time, so she's got to have some other gimmick. She can't, if you're not born with the willingness to show. Okay, so let's see on her Instagram, because she probably, that's a good idea. She might show her ass. She's got a kid, unless this is somebody else.
That's someone else.
That's someone else, yeah. She's like, here's my kid. I'm cheap as fuck. We live in this box outside. If she should be on. Imagine that she applied to be on Super Cheapskate or Extreme Cheapskate. She's like, yeah, I only get Starbucks 3 times a week. All my friends get it twice a day, every day. I get it 3 times a week. This is, meanwhile, people on that show, they shower once a month. They don't flush. They use the runoff water in the shower to wash their clothes. This girl's like, I'm so cheap. I'm so cheap. I go to In-N-Out every other night. That's how cheap I am. I get the small drink. I refill it. 2 or 3 times before I leave. And then I go home and I get under my heated blanket in my heated home. And I make TikToks. It's a caricature, guys. It is, again. It is. This is this entire digital landscape in society has gotten incredibly saturated, which leads me to believe that one of 2 things are happening: either the complete demise or the ushering in of a new type of technology for us to lose ourselves in, and continue to diminish whatever facets of our own humanity and biology that we can, whichever way it comes, whether it's through food, whether it's through inundation of media, whether it's through constant. She's okay. So she's dressing. She's like the guys that talk about being jacked. Okay, here's one. Here's one of her butt. Yeah, there's a couple. They're not right there, but they're there. She's trying to be artsy at a museum in St. Louis, the St. Louis Art Museum. Look at my ass while I look at these pictures of Jesus on the cross. So yeah, I mean, I guess she's okay, but she is like those guys that talk about being jacked because they eat broccoli. She is alluding to having a big ass, but she's not. She's not showing it off. She's not showing us the goods, Well, anyway, guys, I hope we made an impact on you today, positive or otherwise. I know that's what we do. Today's episode was a lot of shitting on social media influencers.
It's pretty par for the course.
Yeah, that's fair. It's all because they're doing better than me. So on that, guys, thank you so much for listening. We're going to be back. We got some fun stuff coming probably sometime in February. We got the big episode 300 is happening. I think toward the end of February, we're going to start ushering in some fun stuff for the show. Things are going to get great. We're always building. We're always getting better. And on that note, thank you so much for listening. Peace.